大切な客人を前に父上とは思えん。狸寝入りよ、三郎の雑言。眠ったふりでもせずば取り繕え。
Number 20, Lone Wolf and Cub, Baby Cart in the Land of Demons. Based on the popular manga series Lone Wolf and Cub, the wandering samurai Ogami Ito returns to the big screen for the 5th time, alongside his young son Daigoro. In this installment, Ogami is hired by a clan to prevent their lord from choosing his illegitimate daughter over his son as a successor. However, before they can hire him, Ogami must first defeat the clan's 5 deadly assassins, each holding part of his payment and crucial information for the mission. With a dramatic soundtrack, over-the-top scenarios, and exaggerated kill scenes, this film ups the ante from its already stellar predecessor, Baby Cart in Peril. Overall, it's a grindhouse-like guilty pleasure that never fails to make the cut. Number 19, The Twilight Samurai.
今日あの恩様はおとはんさ縁談持ってきたのだと思う。俺は断ったぞ。あの恩様の世話で後添いなどもらいたくはねえんだ。牛や馬の売り買いであるねえし。
This 2002 movie tells the poignant story of Iguchu Seibei, a widowed samurai mockingly nicknamed Tosagare by his colleagues. Tosagare, which means twilight, was given to him because at dusk he would leave the other samurai to attend to his children and his mother who has dementia.
刀でも売らねばとてもできねえの、あれほどの組織は。組織か。他人事ではありますねえの。
A low-ranking samurai, Seibei knows that others in the clan are better off, but he finds happiness in the well-being of his family rather than material possessions. His life ultimately changes when his childhood friend Tomo resurfaces and ignites feelings he had long buried. Behind the impressive swordplay depicted, The Twilight Samurai is celebrated for its candid commentary on Japanese society and its endearing tale of a father's love for his children.
お上の命を受けて出かけるなど先、身なりを整えなくてはならねえのに、一人では髪直すのも心もとねえありさまで、切羽詰まってあなたに使い出しました。
Number 18, The 47 Ronin.
大変しかしおきながら、数万をはじいて全海上と被害を移しまうということで、匠の神様ご家来は、船之助殿一人ではござるまい。
This 1941 film wasn't the first cinematic adaptation of Japan's famous 47 Ronin, nor would it be the last. It is, however, one of the longest, spanning 2 parts with a total runtime of nearly 4 hours.
いずれも一節ずつ秘蔵の脇差しを携え、浴衣を1枚ずつ用意して、親子に生き別れ、死ぬる覚悟で参られたのじゃ。
The 47 Ronin eschews the stylishness of more contemporary adaptations, such as The Fall of Akko Castle from 1978. Instead, it presents a serious-minded study about the repercussions of rash actions, loyalty, and duty during feudal-era Japan. This is heavy and high drama, with acting that's largely somber and understated. That said, The 47 Ronin is also a well-shot and pioneering example of this classic samurai drama set within the context of the visual arts.
こちらがご当家のお殿様。とんと学問騎士狩りのように聞いていたが、いや、ただのネズミ、いや、ただの殿様ではござらぬ。これ、兄様。
Number 17, Samurai Rebellion.
試し切りなどより一度臣たちの立ち会いを見たいものだがな。家中の一部ではこのような風評もあるぞ。二人が立ち会わんのはどちらか遅れを取った者の家に傷がつく。
The life of a samurai is one of submission to their lord. But when Isaburo's lord goes too far, the samurai rebels. The trouble begins when the lord forces Isaburo's son to marry his former concubine, Ichi. Despite an initial hesitation, the couple eventually falls in love and bear a daughter. However, Ichi already had a son with the lord, who now becomes next in line for succession after a death in the lord's family.
拙者にこの度隠居の上家督を総領与五郎に譲り渡したく、この段お聞き届けくだされたく願い上げたて祭り候。
When she refuses to return to the lord, Isaburo must take up the sword against his master's will. Demonstrating Japan's unjust feudal practices on ordinary individuals, Samurai Rebellion is a rallying cry against the country's hierarchical society, as well as an award-winning samurai flick.
剣持殿の屋敷の居心地は。まあ、いっぱい飲め。祭りの読み屋の太鼓でも聞きながらな。
父上。
Number 16, Samurai Trilogy.
待てよ、どうする？俺の腹はもう決まった。時計を行くか？おう、戦で手柄を立てれば名が上がる。なんか俺のこと悪道だのなんだろと厄介者にしてる村のやつらを見返ってやるんだ。
Based on the popular novel of Japanese writer Eiji Yoshikawa, this film trilogy tells the tales of real-life master swordsman and Ronin Musashi Miyamoto. How can we best explain its cinematic treatment? Imagine Rocky Balboa meets Gone with the Wind. Audiences journey through this adaptation into Musashi's life and his many trials and duels against several adversaries.
宮本村を出る時にはすぐにでも侍になれるつもりでいたが、つまらん夢を見たもんだ。
痛い？弱虫ね。我慢我慢。
The Samurai Trilogy is a classic demonstration of traditional, deep, nostalgic, and romantic samurai cinema. It largely forgoes the gore that would later become associated with samurai films. Nonetheless, its impact in the genre and Japanese cinema as a whole cannot be overemphasized, as the first installment won the Oscar for Best Foreign Language Film.
これからどこへ行く？
村は冷たい。俺はただおばばに今のことを言いたい一心で戻っただけだ。
確かな。だがこのまま我を行かせたババの心がすまん。
Number 15, Rashimon.
でお前さんもその不思議な話というのを知ってるのか？
この人と二人でこの目で見この耳で聞いてきたばかりだ。
どこで？
ケビ石の庭でだ。
Akira Kurosawa is unequivocally one of cinema's finest filmmakers, with many of his efforts seeing the remake treatment. Rashomon is one of those films, with many adaptations from Italy to the United States utilizing the film's plot device of numerous and unreliable narrators. It's the murder of a samurai that serves as the mystery here, detailed by a woodcutter, the bandit, the samurai's wife, and the victim himself, who speaks beyond the grave via a psychic.
確か何か見えなかった。いい。何もございません。木の枝に一面傘が一つ。踏みにじられた侍烏帽子が。
Most of the retellings are flawed and possess their own aims against the truth. Only the woodcutter's story feels objective, yet Rashomon makes it a point to challenge the veracity of all perspectives.
この女をどうするつもりだ？殺すか？それとも助けてやるか？返事はうなずけばいい。
私はこの言葉だけでも罪人の罪は許してもいいと思う。
Number 14, Kage Musha.
私だって兵でもね、煮てくなり焼いてくなり勝てない。
構わぬ。
It's no accident that the cinema of Akira Kurosawa is highlighted continuously throughout this list. There is simply so much of the man's work that's intrinsically linked to the samurai genre. Kage Musha proved that this master had not lost his touch at the onset of a new decade, as Kurosawa melds both history and fiction.
信長は兵の一部を割いて家康に援兵を送り、このわしの行く手に備えるぞ。義景のこの仕打ち。
The film incorporates the real-life Battle of Nagashino from 1575 within its narrative of a shadow warrior who infiltrates the shogunate. Kage Musha was successful with both critics and audiences too, presenting a stylish and compelling samurai narrative during the post-blockbuster era of filmmaking.
目が吹かれましてからしばらくして私めこのように。
Number 13, The Hidden Fortress.
金を拾ったのは俺だ。嘘かけ。金だってことを見つけたのは俺だ。
Samurai may not exist at the crux of 1958's The Hidden Fortress, but it's the era and tone of this film that would eventually go on to inspire a young George Lucas. Yes, much has been written about the plot similarities and technical flourishes shared between The Hidden Fortress and Star Wars, but this honestly takes nothing away from either film.
でこの秋月領から早川領へ抜けてんだが、この国境は。
Akira Kurosawa balances action, energy, and humor here with his tale of two humble peasants who escort a pair of strangers across enemy lines, only to realize they may not be exactly what they claim. The frequent dissolving wipes might feel familiar, sure, but the hidden fortress more than stands on its own 2 feet as a classic. Number 12, Samurai Assassin. Set in 19th century Japan, this film sees the Tokugawa government's isolationist policy coming to an end when American battleships sail into port. This arrival sparks chaos, causing the samurai factions to splinter, as well as raising questions about Japan's future. To prove his worth as a samurai and learn his true lineage, Niro Tsurachiro is tasked with assassinating the official who's causing all the turmoil. Samurai Assassin is a pessimistic, suspense-filled thriller with overtones of fatalism that features legendary past Kurosawa cast members. Today, it's celebrated as a gripping Japanese drama that intricately weaves historical events into its narrative. Number 11, 13 Assassins.
さすれば旅の途中でそういうことだ時も不足人も足りない我ながら無茶だとは思うだが今の世に剣を抜いて本気で戦ったことのある侍がどれだけいる
In Edo period Japan, a government official secretly hires 13 samurai for an ill-fated mission to assassinate Lord Naritsugo Matsudaira. Naritsugo's unchecked lust and madness have already wreaked havoc across the country and pose an even greater threat with the prospect of him rising to the shogunate council.
明石が出府してもう3日が過ぎた我らの決戦の場はどこに
Loosely based on historic events, 13 Assassins may be the debut samurai epic for the notorious shock director Takashi Miike, but it also features his signature gore and sadistic tropes. The film turns the genre on its head by ingeniously portraying the noble samurai obsession with violence and death as just another fetish.
魚釣りの極意を知ってるか魚が針にかかるまで息を潜めて待つかかったら引き上げる簡単だ
Number 10, Throne of Blood.
この度北の立ち口巻きとの謀反耳に水のこととてこの砦4の砦は立ち木をかかられ下の砦は3の砦は備えを整えるいとももなく
In Akira Kurosawa's reimagining of Shakespeare's Macbeth, General Takatoki Washizu is told by a witch in an enchanted forest of his imminent rise to power. The prophecy comes true, and, spurred on by his conniving wife, Lady Washizu, he heads down a bloodied path of treachery, madness, and murder.
夢は五欲の現れというからな正直な話うちものとって城の主になる夢を描かぬものはあるまい
Throne of Blood earned praise from film and literary critics for putting an original twist on the classic play while still remaining true to many of the themes highlighted by Shakespeare. Bleak, shadowy, and unsettling, the samurai drama sees Kurosawa expertly tackle the deeply complex topics of insanity, paranoia, and hubris.
ご死を過ごしなされたのです。大殿はこの頃、ご死を召し上がるとよくこのような。
Number 9, The Sword of Doom. A quote attributed to Game of Thrones author George R.R. Martin states that a sword is only as good as the man who wields it. The protagonist of 1966's The Sword of Doom, Ryonosuke Tsukue, is not a good man. This samurai takes the lives of many throughout the film and rarely stops to think of any moral implications behind his actions. It's only towards the end that Tsukue's confidence in his enviable swordsmanship is shaken, and he becomes haunted by the ghosts of his victims. This morality tale is deceptively simple, yet The Sword of Doom weaves its plot threads so skillfully you'll be engrossed from start to finish. Number 8, Sanjurro.
打ち合わせの通り話を大目付の菊井さんのところに持ち込んだ、菊井さんはどうだった菊井さんはやっぱり話がわかる初めのうちは困った顔してご城代と相談の上でと逃げを打ってたが俺が今のおじの話をするとびっくりしてね
Akira Kurosawa's 1962 film Sanjurro is sometimes overshadowed by its predecessor Yojimbo from the year before. That said, fans should not miss out on this one either, as it introduces some new elements. The script here incorporates more humor and satire than Yojimbo, while simultaneously retaining this image of a Ronin samurai with wanderlust.
私の名は椿
Sanjurro.
The city fortress setting also lends Sanjurro a more chaotic and claustrophobic atmosphere. This feeling as if anything can happen at any time allows Sanjurro to escape its predecessor's samurai western archetype and stand on its own two creative feet.
おじは破いた意見書を丸めてたもとに入れたんだ。しかもおじが菊に拉致された時の着物は昼間私と会った時のままだった。
Number 7. Zatoichi and the One-Armed Swordsman. Whoever said that movie universe crossovers were only a modern adventure? We could have easily populated this list solely with outings starring the famed blind swordsman Zatoichi. The tale of Zatoichi made our shortlist for inclusion.
ゆうべはどうもありがとうございました。とうとう出入りになったんですね。
そうらしいね。
But we ultimately decided to go with this epic showdown between our favorite samurai Masoor and Jimmy Wang Yu as the infamous one-armed swordsman. The action here is very much indicative of the latter franchise's penchant for extravagant swordplay and visceral violence. Then again, the Zatoichi franchise historically possesses its own connections with these tropes, making this matchup an ultimate weekend matinee of unapologetic action. Number 6. Shogun Assassin.
I never make a sound. Sometimes he tells me about the past and about Mother. I try not to think about it.
We've already highlighted one Lone Wolf and Cub film on this list. However, if you're new to the samurai genre, or just want a taste of what this awesome franchise has in store, then 1980's Shogun Assassin is for you.
Accept this offer or die here. No! Defeat my son in a fair fight, and you win your freedom.
This composite feature combined footage from the first two Lone Wolf and Cub flicks, alongside a roaring synthesizer score from W. Michael Lewis and former Paul Revere and the Raiders singer Mark Lindsay. The English dub for Shogun Assassin was also notably sampled by the GZA for his landmark solo album Liquid Swords. If all that doesn't sell you, then the unrelenting pace and high-octane action here should do the trick.
What happened to your swordsman will happen to you too, nah?
Sorry, but your women are all dead.
Number 5. Ran.
大切な客人を前に父上とは思えん。
たぬき寝入りよ。三郎の雑言。眠ったふりでもせずば取り繕え。
It's sort of poetic that Akira Kurosawa, who was himself so often imitated, looked to another master for inspiration on 1985's Ran. The film adapts William Shakespeare's famous story of King Lear, together with the historical influence of a real-life feudal lord of Japan named Mori Motonari.
この城にはおれん。わしにはまだ一人子があるわ。
Ran served as the third time Kurosawa had followed the bard's lead, with both Hamlet and Macbeth serving as influences for The Bad Sleep Well and Throne of Blood, respectively. That said, Ran remains Kurosawa's baby, a resplendent epic that makes the most of its co-production budget. Lavish costumes? Check. Captivating performances? Double check. Ran is an epic-scaled film that pulls out all the stops.
死んでおる。
Number 4. Lady Snowblood franchise.
何故だ。
恨み。
誰の。
お前に苦しめられた無国の人々。
The 1970s were a golden era for Asian cinema. From kung fu and wuxia epics to samurai films, all being exported to audiences all over the world. Quentin Tarantino was certainly paying attention during his youth, since he's made no bones about how influential films such as the Lady Snowblood franchise were to his cinematic diet.
まだ生まれてもいいさらなかったろうに。
生まれ落ちる前の因果ということもございます。
It's easy to see how Meiko Kaji's performances in both the original Lady Snowblood and its 1974 sequel would go on to inspire Tarantino's Kill Bill universe. Beyond this, however, Lady Snowblood is a visually arresting example of magnetic movie making as it adapts its source material from a Japanese manga. Kaji's samurai swordplay and mournful, captivating visage serves as the perfect white canvas juxtaposed against a river of visceral bloodshed.
許してくれ。
助けてくれ。
許しもしないし助けもしない。
Number 3, Harakiri.
家老職斎藤景宇殿よりご貴殿の申し越しをそのままお世継ぎ様に言上せしところ、近頃まことに見上げたる神帝の武士。
When aging Ronin Sogumo requests the right to perform his own ritual disembowelment, known as seppuku, from the feudal lord Sato, his request is refused. The lord's reasoning for this is the story of Chijiwa Motome, another Ronin who Sato believed tried to defraud his clan of customary monetary dispensation by faking the act.
ナマズのように切り刻まれるよりは自ら切腹、武士らしい最後。さあ、お召し替えを願おうか。
Tsukumo counters this with his life story and reveals how Sato mistook the tragedy behind both his and Motome's tales. An anti-war masterpiece, Harakiri rips apart the over-glorification of the Bushido honor code and exposes its hypocrisy, senseless murders, and its exploitation of the human condition.
脇差しまで。この通りだ。大根はおろか。
Number 2, Yojimbo.
自慢じゃねえが、悪いことでやってねえことは一つもねえんだ。じゃあ叩き切られても文句はねえな。なんだと。切れるもんなら切ってくれ。切られりゃ痛えぞ。
This is probably Toshiro Mifune's greatest achievement when it comes to samurai flicks. When a drifting Ronin shows up in a town that's torn apart by warring gangs, he's hired by the townspeople to be its bodyguard, that is, the titular Yojimbo.
恐ろしく危なくて汚い仕事だ。よほど取らなきゃ引き合わねえ。
たかが用心棒になるだけじゃねえか。
用心棒にもいろいろある。雇った方で用心しなきゃならねえ用心棒だってあら。
He craftily pits the two gangs against each other until they're drawn into a high noon showdown that aims to once and for all free the townsfolk from the gangsters' terrible reign. As mentioned earlier, the film inspired a sequel the following year titled Sanjurro. It also served as the basis for Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars, making it truly one of director Akira Kurosawa's milestone samurai films.
やめろ。俺のやつはできるな。盗みとしやがると叩き切るぞ。
Number 1, Seven Samurai.
なんか文句あるか。いや、これで。
When 7 penniless Ronins are hired to defend a poor village from marauding bandits, Ronins and villagers must put aside their prejudices to face a common threat. Stripping away the glory and honor for which the samurai genre is usually known, this Kurosawa adventure flick features battle scenes that are often inglorious and stark. It also focuses on how these Ronins, villagers, and bandits found themselves living lives plagued by poverty, violence, and scavenging.
Hey, お前たち。一体百姓は何だと思ってたんだ。仏様とでも思ってたか。だからしちゃいけねえや。百姓ぐらい悪ずりした生き物はねえんだぜ。
Inspiring countless major motion pictures like The Magnificent Seven with its narrative and technical innovations, there's no question that Seven Samurai is a timeless masterpiece.
なんだこりゃ。やりぐります。アホ、こんなものどっから持ってきたってんだ。裏の山に生えてたのか?
What's your favorite samurai film? Let us know in the comments. Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.